Yo, what is up? Welcome to the Culture and Cannabis Podcast. My name is JC Coates at your service today. That's right, I'm rolling solo today. It's just me here at the broadcast desk today. We have an incredible guest, but listen, you know, where's Tony, right? Where's full-time Tony? He's on the grind. He's living up to his name, full-time Tony. He's up in Northern Nevada, servicing some of our retail partners out there, getting some of our brand new products out there. That's right, the 24-karat gold infused pre-roll, the Hustler, is making its way up to Northern Nevada as we speak through the full-time Tony. So listen, we're going to catch him next time. I think he's got a comedy show. Shout out Joe Comedy. They're going to produce a comedy show out there in Reno. I think it's a sold-out show. So listen, you guys are stuck with me, but listen, we have an incredible guest today, and this is a meaningful podcast. So stick with me here, right? You know, a lot of times, you know, some subjects get brought to light in this industry. Some come and they get popular and they go away, but you know, some of the things that really set this industry apart, the cannabis community apart, is the medical side of cannabis, right? And it's the reason why it usually becomes legal in markets, because of the medicinal value and the patience, right? The patience is some of the most important part of everything that we're doing in this battle, bringing cannabis to the forefront in the United States. And today's guest is an incredible an example of some of the amazing work that's happening through the medicinal works of cannabis. She was referred to me by one of my friends, Maritza, and I'm just thrilled to have her. So today we have Sierra Riddle in the building today. Sierra, are you out there? Hey, Sierra.
Hello.
Hey, and your son Landon here is here also. Listen, tell us who you are and what you got going on.
Well, thank you guys so much for having us. We really appreciate it. My name is Sierra Riddle, and this is my son, Landon.
Hello.
And Landon was the youngest American citizen given a medical marijuana card in 2012 when he was 2 years old. Landon was dying from terminal cancer and had been sent home after treatments had failed him.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, Landon, man, you have an incredible story, right? You're just your just your existence represents so much for so many people. How does that make you feel?
Very nervous.
And that's okay, right? Because some of the things,
a little camera shy as well.
That's okay, right? And you know, sometimes the things that make us nervous are some of the most awesome things in this world. So it's okay to be nervous. Listen, I want to dive right into this, into your story, and I want to take. You've had a ton of press around what you guys have been through. And you know, Newsweek has covered your story, CNN. I want to take a clip from this Newsweek story and follow it up with a question. So let's just dive in. When Sierra Riddle stormed into the conference room at Denver's Child Protective Services, the director of the agency was seated there along with her son's team of doctors, top administrators from the Children's Hospital, Colorado Oncology Department, and lawyers. She recalls looking one of the physicians in the eye defiantly and said, "I'm done with this shit." She remembers saying, "I'm done with you guys bullying us." So to me, this sounds like a moment in your story where it's kind of like a rock bottom moment. And I bet you've had a lot of rock bottom moments. But can you talk about, you know, what the rock bottom moment was for you regarding traditional medicine and how you found the strength to stand up through that?
Yeah, no, definitely. You know, I feel like most people don't understand and never will understand the politics and things that are behind childhood cancer, which, hallelujah, thank God that they won't. But for those of us that are, you know, unfortunately enough to have to deal with this, there is no other options. The only treatment option given to us is chemotherapy.
Yes.
And for Landon's specific cancer, which was leukemia, which is the #1 diagnosed cancer in children in America, the treatment was 4 years at the time. So within 90 days, Landon was dying, and he had lost 50% of his body weight. He lost his ability to walk, to talk, to eat. He was IV fed, and he was on some very serious narcotics such as morphine, Oxycontin, Ativan, Zofran, and it just not only was it not helping Landon, but it was actually making him worse. And so it came down to the point that they told us, you know, we need to send Landon home on hospice, and we're going to make him comfortable. And I was like, what? But you guys said this is such an easy thing to cure. It's like 93% according to y'all. And they basically told me my child was not going to be in that 93%. So at this point, we had a choice to either go home to St. George, Utah and do hospice, or to look for alternatives. Thankfully, a friend of my mother's had reached out and said, hey, have you guys ever looked into cannabis? And at first, my mom was very angry and like, you know, this is a 2-year-old child. Why would you ever suggest that? But once she started actually researching it, she was able to see that cannabis concentrate, also known as cannabis oil or full extract cannabis oil, has been able to not only help people with the side effects of cancer, but to also cure their cancer, even without treatment. So we really felt like we had nothing else to lose. Our rock bottom was them basically reducing my son to such a drastic state, physically, mentally, and emotionally, and then telling us, you know, there's nothing else. We're going to send you guys home and make him comfortable. So at that point, me and my mother chose not to do so. We left Utah and we drove Landon straight to Colorado Springs, where we started him on cannabis oil. And so I feel like a lot of people don't understand that when you run out of options, right, through pediatric cancer treatments, that's it. According to them, there's nothing else. Your child is going to die. And that's not true. We have so many other options now for holistic treatments that are effective. You know, we're not out here praying to a dandelion to cure our kids, right? We're actually doing things that show actual real results. My son, in fact, most people would never even guess that he had terminal cancer and was not supposed to survive because he's so healthy now. That is solely through cannabis, diet, and nutrition.
That's incredible. And, you know, congratulations. Right. To you, that it's an incredible story, and the strength. It just reminds me, you know, a lot like your nervousness for the camera. Right. Sometimes being nervous there can be some really awesome things behind the nervous. Right. But with what you went through, right, the pain and the suffering and the rock bottom, right, there can be some incredible things behind that. And your story of, you know, Landon, you're still here. Right. It's incredible. It's a miracle. And it's a testament, right, that things can, you know, the best is yet to come, right? And so, you know, congratulations for taking those steps. Let's talk about CPS for a minute, right? You know, because, you know, they get involved, right? And at the end of the day, you know, it's federally illegal to schedule, you know, quote unquote drug marijuana. How did you deal with CPS and being worried about, you know, losing Landon through, you know, this type of treatment?
So I think, you know, the main thing is that I tell people, you know, it's not that I wasn't scared, right? Because I was, you know, I was the first person to ever even attempt to do anything like this. And there was nobody to like back me. Most doctors would not take our case. They wouldn't help Landon, you know, but I tell people this a lot, that the fear of losing my son, to death, right, was more of a fear to me than me going to prison, than Landon being put, you know, with another family or with my family that wasn't me. And, you know, so when it comes down to, you know, seeing your child in such a devastating state and knowing that you had a hand in helping to put them there, right, and then understanding that there is hope, there might be another option, you know, really at that point, you know, I hit the gas. I was like, no, right? If this is the option, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to give it the best shot that I can, just like I showed up every single day to that hospital when they told me to, or I did all the things he did. And so I was able to get a hold of some really amazing doctors from other countries and stuff. I was able to get a hold of Raphael McCoolum out of Israel, who is the grandfather of THC. And they all told me the same thing, that they don't know why Americans do this, and that marijuana would not harm my child and it would definitely help to cure him. When doctors in America told me, even just the ones that were even willing to talk to me, which was a very, very small percentage, right? But they told me, we're not sure if it will help him, but we can tell you it won't hurt him. Mm-hmm. So the fact that that the knowledge and the education was so much stronger in these other countries led me to believe that we were being lied to in this country. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, for pharmaceutical gain, political gain, it didn't matter to me. The only thing that mattered to me was making sure that my child was going to survive. Mm-hmm. And so, it was very hard pressed. It was very stressful. I was reported and investigated over a dozen times to Child Protective Services. But I tell everybody, I just opened the door and let them in. Like every time I was like, hey, y'all, hey, how you doing? Right. Come on in. Yeah, you want to talk to Landon? And, it got to the point that by the end of it, they were sending Landon birthday and Christmas presents because this was, such a long drawn out event. And I do understand that those people have, a job to do. Right. And so when somebody calls, especially an oncologist or a doctor and says, hey, this lady is abusing her kid, this lady's going to kill her kid, of course they're going to show up. Now I will say I'm very, very thankful and blessed that when they showed up, my son was not cancer Landon. He was cannabis Landon. So he was already getting well. And they were like, we don't understand what's going on here. And I was like, they only want him to do this treatment for 4 years. That's it. They don't care about Landon. They don't care about his health. They don't care about he might not survive. It's chemo or no chemo. That was the only question.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're made to feel like we don't have a choice, but at the end of the day, we do have a choice. And you're a perfect example of taking your own, medical situation into your own hands, right? Because sometimes, at the end of the day, listen, it's your health, it's your son's health, it's our health, right? And when it comes to alternative medicines, like cannabis, right? It do your research, right? Check it out. There's other ways, right? And unfortunately, a lot of our, pharmacology and doctor stuff, it's profit driven, right? And they have to, the hospital's got to pay the bills and stuff like that. And so that kind of gets in the way of, the true intent of healing people, unfortunately. But that doesn't mean that you can't take things into your own hands, and, kudos for you for doing that. So, all right. So you've been through this. How long has Landon been in remission?
Landon will celebrate 9 years cancer-free in just a couple months, actually.
Amazing. Congratulations, Landon. How does that feel?
I don't.
Landon gets kind of shy when it comes to camera time.
You've been through a lot.
People I don't know.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's okay.
I bet if Maritza was doing the interview, he'd be more than willing to talk.
Well, we tried to get Maritza in. I think Maritza's a lot like you, Landon. She might have a little camera shy because she's over here in the popcorn section. But listen, so through this process, right? I assume you used cannabis before this. That's why you kind of knew about it and stuff like that. And, kind of catch us up to speed where you're at in your cannabis journey, right? So maybe you're kind of using it socially. You go through this whole thing with Landon. Where you're at now?
So I've been a cannabis consumer for many, many, many years in my life. Obviously never knew the full potential of the plant until my son, but another, big part of our story, I guess, that maybe not a ton of people know, was that even though I moved to Colorado, I did all of the correct things, right? There was only one company that was willing to sell me product for Landon. Even though we were in a legal state, Landon had his medical marijuana card. But even now, if you consider now in 2021, almost every CBD product says not for use of the age of anybody under the age of 18 or 21. So I had a very hard time finding products for Landon. So I decided to make them myself. So I started one of our nation's first and now longest standing CBD product lines in 2014 called Landon's Health Hut. and I mainly provide to children with terminal illnesses. And, just trying to...
I can show you an example of what she...
Oh, okay. Just trying to, bridge that gap between, the medical marijuana community and the actual patients that are kids, because Landon might have been the first, but we have getting close to probably 500,000 pediatric patients in all the states. None of them can go into stores and shop, especially in Nevada, right? I was never allowed to take Landon into a store. And so, I think that there's still a huge stigma around it, right? There's not RSO carried in a lot of dispensaries. And so, it was like the main products that we needed for Landon were not there. And so I created the Landon's Health Hut line. And so what Landon's showing, this is actually one of our nutritional products, and it is called Landon's IV in a Bottle. And it is a nanotechnology, water-soluble vitamins, nutrients, and minerals in a convenient small amount, because a lot of the times these children stop eating, or even adults on chemotherapy stop eating. And then they lose weight. They are, just everything that goes along with malnutrition. So we were able, with the help of Maritza, to create these products to be able to help, not only children, but adults that are going through chemotherapy or any type of gastrointestinal issue, so that they can have the nutrition that they need on an affordable scale. Pediasure is bullshit. Right? Ensure is bullshit. Gatorade is bullshit. And so I tell people I would never give that to my kid, but it doesn't change the fact that my kid needs nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and electrolytes. So we were able to create, an awesome product for Landon to be able to share with the world.
There's another one.
Yeah, there is.
So
the big one.
This is the one you will take. This is the one Sierra used because she wasn't feeling better.
So we make a wide variety of CBD products, but we also have CBN, CBG, CBT, CBD products.
This just tastes like water. It doesn't run.
And then we have these two products which do not have any CBD in them at all. So that way I am able to infiltrate the pediatric hospitals and give the children these products, because a lot of pediatric hospitals will tell you that they can't consume products with hemp or CBD because they're just not sure if it's going to interact or counteract the chemotherapy. So we try really hard, to do prevention, but also to do functional medicine for people, and understanding that if we address these problems through the forefront of diet and nutrition, that we can probably eliminate most of the problems that these children are having.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I'd have to agree. I mean, I've changed my diet and took some things out of, my diet, and it's completely changed my life. So, I mean, yeah. So here, let's get a little deep for a second. So, what does it mean for you to be a mother? And what have you learned about yourself from being a mom and going through Landon's journey?
I think really, being a mom is hard, and I've always been a single mom as well. And, so just that alone is very hard. But then having to, go through something, so, drastic and terrible, such as cancer, was even more ridiculous. But then adding in the fact that, the whole world was put against me. A lot of those news articles and things that came out was like, mom stops chemotherapy for pot product. They weren't good headlines, right? And they were trying to make it seem like I, just wanted to buck the system, that I was some, I don't know, like a rebel or something. But the whole time I just kept telling them, I just want my kid to have a chance. Right. And I don't care, if it's a mushroom that grows on an exotic hippo's butt crack, I'm going to go find it. Right. My kid needs to survive. And so really it showed me for myself, what I was capable of, but not only that, but what I was willing to do when it came down to it. I've moved so many states in the last 10 years for Landon to have the best medical care, the best cannabis care, the best schooling. I've put my life on hold. I've never really got to have hobbies. Obviously, I've never found a partner or a mate, because it's all been about Landon. And I take Landon's life and care very, very seriously. And it does consume my life. And then now running Landon's, Health Hut. But really, I don't see anyone else hardly ever standing up for these children. Right. And it's cancer is not slowing down. Epilepsy is not slowing down. These children need us. And, you know, millions, if not trillions at this point have been made, not only in Nevada, but in all the other states. And nobody, you know, cares to help these children. So, you know, I learned not only that I can be fierce and a warrior, but I can be kind and compassionate and stand up for those that need it and that no one else is standing for. Because even now in 2021, I see parents getting demoralized, humiliated, put on blast, if you will, because they want to give their kids marijuana, straight THC. And I still see families having to leave their states to move to Colorado, trying to get their kids some relief, you know, and it shouldn't be this way anymore. You know, Landon and I suffered enough. The rest of the medical marijuana refugees suffered enough, but it just seems like the education is lacking. Mm-hmm. And so that's why, you know, Landon and I continue to be activists and to share Landon's story and to share his, you know, progress where he is now, because we've all been told that marijuana makes you, you know, stupid and lazy and all of these things, but yet my son is.
It will make you high, though.
That's true.
But it won't make you lazy. It does make you a little. I have actually went on a healing journey once, and let me say, it gets it all out, but you will not remember most of it.
Yeah.
You will wake up in pain, but luckily, if you Sierra will help you and have a few days of you resting.
Yeah. So Landon, you know, now he likes to, you know, help me with work and help me, you know, with the activism. He's a little bit over the camera part. He doesn't really like to take photos or videos.
That's a little too much.
But, you know, Landon is really getting to a point also of, you know, questioning and wondering, like, Mom, why isn't it any better? And I'm like, man, Landon, I really don't have an answer for you, buddy, because, you know, we're all trying, you know, we're trying to get these stories out and to get these out. But I also know a lot of families that won't share their children's story for fear of that backlash, for fear of, you know, their communities looking at them differently or calling CPS on them, you know. And so, you know, we're definitely a lot farther than we were in 2012, but we still have a long way to go. And, you know, especially for people to understand, you know, that cannabis can cure cancer in children, and we do not have to poison them with these toxic, harmful treatments, right, that are costing millions of dollars a year. When we can literally grow it in our backyard, process it in a natural way, and then have, you know, a little mini linebacker on our hands.
Right. Yes. Facts. Big facts. Big facts. Listen, Landon, I got one question for you. Can you give me one question? Hopefully. Listen, everything that you've been through, right? You have so much that you're able to look back on, right? That you've already been through in your short life. If you're able to look forward, right? What's your big dreams? Like, what are you really looking forward to for the future?
Well, I do not like to get into that because we have a very short time in this state of being a kid, so I don't really focus on the future. I just enjoy my time as a kid.
Beautifully said. I love that. There's a lot wise words in there. Listen, Sierra, you guys have been to some incredibly dark places, right? But you're both sitting here with huge smiles on your face, right? From what you've been through. What's next for you and your journey?
Well, you know, I think honestly we're going to keep plucking along the same road, which is activism for pediatric cancer and cannabis therapy. But we do have a lot of, you know, other things in store. We recently moved from Las Vegas to Oregon, and I have been preparing for Landon's farm for quite a few years now to be able to grow sustainable food as well as cannabis, so that we can, you know, help more families, help more people through our nonprofit Cannamami, which provides grants to families for cannabis-based medicines. And so, you know, we're really excited to finally be here. We just got here about 60 days ago. And so moving more towards a slower pace of life, you know, with more of a farm-ish type life, if you will. And then also we will be headed down to Florida in the next few months, and we are setting up a Landon's Health Hut CBD store there, as Florida has really reached out in a cry for help that they just don't have any good CBD products down there that are affordable. And so, you know, my goal is to have safe access and affordable quality products all around the world. And so, you know, Maritza and I have a lot of plans to go to Colombia. We have a lot of plans to go to Puerto Rico. You know, the education really never stops, I feel like. And so that's what I'm going to continue doing, is just ensuring that people out there know that cannabis is non-toxic, it's non-harmful, and it's safe for children.
Nice, nice.
If you use it the wrong way.
Yeah, if you use it the wrong way, bad things can happen, right?
A lot of people will use it the wrong way. Teenagers, adults.
Yeah.
Yep.
But unfortunately, they do that with everything, even cake. So.
Yeah, even cheeseburgers.
Cake's not outlawed.
Right? No, that's not how it works.
Well,
but
listen.
Yes, our main goal was obviously to see safe access in all 50 states for all patients, right? We are very much more medical than we are recreational. And so just looking to reach out to those other states and help in any way that we can. We will be in Vegas next week, or at least I will be representing Team Landon with Maritza at Champs.
In Vegas with her.
Nice.
Yeah, so hopefully I'll get to see you guys, and yeah, we can definitely chop it up. But that's our main goal, is to keep pushing the education, that patients need to come first, that we need safe access, and we need affordable, quality, lab-tested products.
100%. Listen, I really appreciate your time. It was a pleasure meeting you, Landon. Sierra, it was incredible meeting you. Where can our listeners find you? Give yourself a plug.
Yes, you can find us.
I'm starting my own YouTube channel so you guys can see me and my mom.
Yes. You can find us on Facebook at Offer Hope for Landon. You can find us on Instagram, which we are vastly more active there, at Team Landon and Cannabis. And you can find all of our nutritional products as well as our CBD and other products at cbdforall.org.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you. Godspeed up in Oregon. And I'm going to make sure to run into you at Champs this next weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys. We really appreciate it so very much. And thank you guys so much. And we hope you guys have a great weekend.
100%. We'll talk to you soon, Landon.
Bye.
Bye.
There you have it, guys. Listen, just incredible things that are happening in the cannabis industry, in the cannabis community. You just got to look a little bit, right? And just a quick reminder, right? Your health and your wellness is your responsibility, right? Give a little bit extra, right? To make sure that, all the treatments, you're getting the best treatment, right? Because sometimes alternative medicines can help you, such as cannabis. Listen, that's going to wrap up the podcast today. My name is JC Coates. I appreciate every one of you guys, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.